Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So if you've been following my energy work series, we've so far discussed how energy is the foundation of everything in our universe. We've also discussed how to start to tap into your own etheric body and energy body, and how to start working with this energy in your own life to improve your life. And so today I wanted to share a few tips and tricks on how to deal with certain activities that we have to do in our lives that actually take us out of our energy body or out of that level of awareness. So we've discussed how yoga and a regular meditation practice help to embody this energy and how to open up this energy. Now, certain things and activities that we do will take us out of this level of awareness. Oftentimes, I associate this jumping out of conscious awareness when it comes to either two things: slowing the energy body down and kind of numbing ourselves, and then also speeding our energy to a high extent to like a rushing kind of energy. So I'm going to be breaking both of these down and giving you some ideas of what type of activities would create that kind of imbalance, and also what you can do to kind of help mitigate your energy when you're in this circumstance. Because I realize and I recognize that it's not necessarily about perfection, but it's just about becoming a little bit more aware of our energy body in those specific situations. So I hope that these tips help. So let's get started. The first category that we're going to tackle is the energy increasers, or when our energy body raises to a point of overwhelm, if you will. So one thing about this is often associated with sensations of anxiety. So when we're in an anxious state or in a state of being rushed, our energy body kind of accelerates to the point where we can't necessarily keep up with it. Or it would require a higher level of consciousness or focus to be able to be embodied while doing these activities. One of the first categories that we're going to talk about is drinking too much coffee or caffeine. And so this is basically consuming an anxious inducing liquid or something that will stimulate your nervous system energy body. And so what I would recommend is, if you're drinking a lot of coffee, to maybe try to ease off a little bit and see how that helps and see how that impacts your energy body and even your meditations and things like that. You might also notice that as you become more in tune with your energy body, maybe you'll start to realize the impacts that coffee has if you consume too much of it. Another trick that I would do is to try to consume a little bit more water. I'd say maybe 2-to-1 ratio. So if you're drinking 1 cup of coffee, maybe try drinking 2 cups of water. That way you are replenishing your body with hydration, because caffeine also dehydrates you. And so it's really important, especially when we're doing psychic work and intuitive work, to stay hydrated. A lot of the hydration is important in order to keep everything kind of succinct. Another trick, if you are feeling brave and willing to maybe cut out caffeine, is to try supplementing with alternatives. So you can actually find this really great coffee alternative. I've used this over the course of the years. I still drink coffee, but I'll sometimes wean off of it if I notice I am actually drinking too much. And so I'll have like coffee sabbaticals where I just drink like herbal teas. But another really nice thing to do is to either consume decaffeinated coffee, which also isn't always the best, because the way that they decaffeinate beans is either by using chemicals or a lot of water. And so it's not necessarily the most environmentally friendly option. But there is this really unique drink. It's called Dandy Blend, and you can actually buy this usually at a natural food store. But it's a coffee flavored drink. It actually really does taste like coffee and espresso, depending on how much how many teaspoons you're putting of this dandy blend. Or you can also try these mushroom type teas that have kind of an espresso flavor to them. And another trick to do is to incorporate maca powder into your diet, or certain mushrooms like ashwagandha and things like that that actually help to elevate your energy more in a natural sense. And so it's not going to give you that energy spike, but it'll give you a longer lasting, smooth release of energy. Okay, so another thing that will induce this stressful energy is when you are either running errands or working, but in a rushed state, or if you just have a lot on the go. So one of the things that really helps with this is to actually just write everything down, like write a to-do list that you have to do early in the morning, first thing. Maybe add that as part of your morning routine. That way you don't have to mentally continuously think about all the things you have to do, because by writing it down, you're kind of taking the weight off of your mind from having to carry the information, because you can trust that it's written on a piece of paper. And then you can categorize each thing that you have to do by priority. And you can even make the route of your day. So you just kind of plan and map out your day, you know. I have to do this, this, this. Okay, well, I'll go to event A first because it's on the way to event B, and then traffic's going this way. So, and you kind of map out the day that way. And this will help to kind of alleviate that rushing energy, and also to plan ahead of time with traffic and things like that, just to avoid any rushed behavior. Another thing that will take you out of your level of awareness or out of connection with your etheric body is driving really fast, or even just driving in general. So what will happen is that when you're driving, you obviously have to bring your awareness at a bunch of other things. You know, you're watching out for cyclists, pedestrians, other cars. You know, we're already in that mindset. So what happens is when you drive faster than the speed limit, you are actually also having to respond a lot quicker. So it's taking you out of your energy body and a little bit into your mind, and kind of speeding up your energy body so that you can't really remain present. And so I would recommend that you drive the speed limit. It's a good thing to do, especially for safety, but also for your level of awareness. And also to maybe avoid listening to music or podcasts or things like that. Now, I really enjoy listening to music and podcasts, so sometimes, you know, you just gauge it, you know. It's nice to learn how to do these things in a conscious way, and then, of course, you know, you don't have to be conscious all the time. You can listen to your music and have fun. But a really nice tip to do is to actually wait until maybe you're like on a highway or something where you're kind of not engaging with traffic so much, so your brain doesn't have to be aware of so much other stuff, that you can just kind of get into like a cruise control mode, and then listen to your music then. But for sure, driving really fast will inevitably take you out of that conscious awareness. Okay, another thing that will take you out of your etheric body awareness is cramming for exams, or going too much into like a mind zone where you have to take in so much information. So of course, this is actually something that happens, like when we're studying and using the mind, we are actually not really using the physical body as much. It's all in the mind, but this can actually take a lot of energy out of you. And so I would really recommend that a few things. So, you know, spacing out your studying throughout the day is really, really nice. Also, I find it really helpful to have kind of like a glucose type of a food, because our brains require that kind of energy to sustain itself, and high fats as well. So always having like nuts and maybe dried fruit is a really good combo to kind of keep yourself fueled in that regard. And then again, if you're in university or something like that, or if you're studying to become a doctor or a lawyer, that requires a lot of constant brain effort, which will take you out of your body, is to space it out throughout the day, but also to incorporate, a few meditations a day, even if they're 5 minutes long, and spacing them out. That might help to just kind of like quiet the mind, give yourself a mental break, tap into your energetic body. And then I would also recommend doing yoga at least once a day, or even just like it doesn't have to be a power flow or anything like that. It can just be a soft, relaxing yoga and maybe some nice soothing music. But for sure, I would recommend spacing out that study time, because you might even, what happens is you'll go into like a hyperdrive, and then you're literally kind of frying your energy system. And so another thing that I would recommend is when you're in university to, again, maintain a steady caffeine intake, or to try to mitigate that. If you feel like you're drinking too much coffee, maybe try to cut back. But also another nice trick is to take adrenal fatigue supplements and adrenal support supplements. That way you're giving your nervous system the nutrients it requires, and you're taking care of your energy body and adrenals that also kind of work with your energy body as well. Okay, so something else that will take you out of your energy body is being in an environment with a ton of action. So I'm talking like tons of music, a lot of stimulation, a lot of people, a lot of conversation, a lot going around you. This will undoubtedly kind of take you out of your body, and it requires a lot of effort to kind of remain inside the body and balanced. So you can continuously, tune into your body and kind of observe the environment around you, and kind of be the listener. Now, this is actually a really good tip for multiple reasons. So when you're in a big crowd, it's really nice to hold your own personal energy and to just observe people around you, observe the conversations, and to add when you feel like it's appropriate, and to maybe not try to become the center of attention in a sense, which requires a lot of energy. I mean, if you are naturally that, I'm just talking more so like when you're training to embody yourself a little bit more, these are just nice tips to do. I'm not saying that you never, not be a social butterfly. There's a time and a place, but it's just more so things to be aware of. Because in this sense, when you focus on just being the observer, you kind of become the eye of the storm in a sense. And then from this neutral position in your body, and as you embody your own personal energy and everything that you are most likely going to draw upon the people that you want to be interacting with, especially in these big crowds. And so that's also a really nice tip to kind of integrate and to maybe ponder on and to explore the next time that you are out in a social gathering or in a really public space. Okay, so now I want to talk to you about certain things that will zone you out of your energy body. Now, these are going to be activities that kind of slow down your energy body to a point of kind of like falling out. At least that's kind of how it feels. And so one of these activities is watching television and TV programming. So I would recommend, if you watch a lot of TV, to maybe mitigate the amount of time you spend watching TV, and to do other activities instead throughout the day. And I would also avoid watching TV when you're feeling tired or before bed, because it kind of zones you out and puts you into that, it kind of puts you like into a lull. Especially in the energy body, it kind of floats you out of your body. So yeah, I would recommend trying to be stricter with yourself with the amount of time you allow yourself to engage in with the activity. And then to be mindful of what you are choosing to intake when you are in that space and mindset. And then another really important tip that I'd recommend is that before bed, you unplug the TV and you disconnect your internet, because these do create EMFs in your space, which can actually infringe upon your dream state and your subconscious mind as you're sleeping in your energy body that way. Okay, so my final tip for you guys is to mitigate your social media and use of social media. So, I mean, I've been there and I'm sure you have too, but how many times, that we scroll through photos after photos and videos after videos that are on like 10-second replays, and so much time can be wasted. And you might notice, at least I have, that after I've engaged in that kind of activity, not only do I feel kind of out of it because my energy body is just kind of like out of my body, but also I just feel tired and numbed out. And I think this is like a really important thing to note, because it's something that can just happen so automatically. So a really nice trick that I've discovered and that I've been utilizing recently is actually deleting certain apps that I find myself kind of instinctively going to when I have nothing to do. So like oftentimes I would find myself kind of, being busy throughout the day, and the second I'd have like a break, or if I was waiting in my car, or if I'm just, whatever, not driving and waiting in my car, but just like in a parking lot, so I'm waiting for someone, and I would go on my Instagram, right? Just kind of like an instinctive thing to do, especially nowadays. So what I've been training myself to do is actually deleting the app for like a week-long period and just kind of downloading it again when I have something that I want to share with my friends and family. And then that way I am not wasting as much time on social media, but when I'm on social media, I'm able to do and contact everyone that I want, reply to messages, reply to friends, and I also don't feel the need to kind of be on it as much. And so that level of disconnect is actually a lot more empowering than constantly subconsciously going to it, because it is a big thing, and it is something that we waste a lot of our time on if it's not used properly or mitigated, and something that does take you out of your energy body. So these are my tips for you. Again, I'm not, telling you that you have to change your entire life and that everything that you're doing is wrong and we now have to live as monks. No, not at all. These are just things that I've noticed over time as I became a little bit more conscious of my energy body and started to meditate a little bit more regularly. And I was able to differentiate how I felt when I would start driving fast. And I was like, holy crap, it really makes a difference. It really takes you out of your body. And so if we're doing so many of these activities all the time, it's no wonder that we have a hard time tapping into our energy body at the end of the day or when we're in meditation, right? So these are just things to note, things that you can experiment with, maybe focus on one or two, and then see how that works with your meditation and your ability to come on into your body, because that's the goal, right? It's always just about making it simpler for us to tap back into our presence, our essence, our energy body. And so yeah, like I mentioned, these are just things that I've noticed over time that really take me out of my body, and hopefully these tips help to improve your life and make you a little bit more present as you live. So I'm sending you all my love and light. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, don't be too strict on yourself. That's not the goal here. But take the information and mull it over, and I hope it helps. So have yourself a fantastic weekend and rest of your week. Bye, guys.